All right, this is week one, chapter one, media ethics at work. Chapter one review. What was it about? I mean, it was obviously about ethics. It was about morality, about knowing the difference between right and wrong, and kind of really being taught the difference of right and wrong. There's a lot of emphasis. A lot of the chapter talks about the importance of being taught ethics, and having some education based on that, because it's something that's going to be super important to your career, and it's going to be super important to just everyday life in general. You're going to be faced with a lot of decisions, a lot of ethical decisions that are sort of exist kind of in a gray area, and making the right decisions on those is important. Right and wrong isn't as simple as black and white. um, that's sort of how the chapter started off. Well, I don't want to say started off, it was like the third philosopher, but Aristotle. They talked about Aristotle in the book, in his virtue ethics, how the key to making a good ethical decision is finding the gray area between two extremes. Not the gray area, but the most like virtuous decision, which sits somewhere between two extremes. And that the chapter goes on to talk about how other philosophers of the years have built on, from Plato and Aristotle to John Rawls and other more modern philosophers, what they've thought about ethics. I mean, if you look no further for the importance of ethics and knowing ethics and being taught ethics, than the fact that all these guys have it's been a topic that's been on like the greatest minds that society has ever had to offer, for millennia. Uh, some of those ideas in the chapter that the chapter sort of highlights, are like, they might sound like common sense. And one of the guys, John Rawls, actually talks about how he thinks philosophy is kind of common sense based, and a lot of it does seem like common sense, as simple as just doing what is best for society. Obviously, that brings up the question, what is best for society? But you can kind of judge common sense. Throwing trash on the sidewalk when there's a trash can right next to you is not doing what's best for society. Another key part of the chapter, it talks about treating everybody equal, putting everybody on equal grounds. That's been a key part of ethics from way back in the ancient Greek days, the first people that started talking about it, to the more modern philosophers, just putting everybody on equal ground. Another thing that sounds like common sense, but clearly, look around the world today, it's not quite so common sense. My dad always said common sense isn't common, but who knows, man. A lot of the stuff that they talked about in this chapter, even the most simple stuff, I just wish people took time to think about more. I mean, the chapter really, everything in the chapter, the first chapter at least, is as simple as just thinking about how you act. But I guess not everybody does that. But it's nice to read about the ethics, I guess. I don't know. That's it. That's chapter one.